Hey, what is up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on a Silverado Prerunner style, low profile, plate style bumper. This is one of the kits that I did here years and years ago. I put a bunch of cardboard templates together, kind of made it work, and then I always trace those templates and I cut them all out by hand with the grinder. More recently, I do have a CNC guy that takes care of all my cutting work. This is a kit that he cut out. This is probably the 8th or 10th one that he's done for me. So basically I'm gonna kind of just walk you guys through real quick. We'll do a short video today on how it's done. Basically you get your plates like this. It's got some cleanup work. It's not bad, it's nice clean cuts. Basically I take the grinder to it, hit all the edges so that it's nice and clean, and then just real briefly quickly go over the top just to get any of the loose surface rust or anything like that. Just get it off, get it clean. So I've already done majority of these. You can see they're kind of a little bit darker, they're a little shinier. I need to clean these. I'm going to time lapse it. It's probably going to be just a bunch of time lapse on this video, just so you guys can kind of watch the process. It's basically a big puzzle at this point. You got to puzzle all these pieces together, do a bunch of tack welds, get all the angles correct. Just a lot of welding, a lot of grinding. This one specifically, I like to build up the weld on the corners and then grind it off on each edge and get that nice sharp point. It's just a cleaner, better looking look for this style bumper. I don't leave any actual welds exposed except for like the internal structure, which we do pretty much fully weld or stitch weld majority of the whole inside, so that way it still is fully strong, fully structured. Because whenever you do grind off, you're grinding off probably, you know, 60-70% of your weld when you do the clean corners, because you're taking it all the way back down to the original material. You're only leaving the part that penetrated down deep inside. Typically we usually get at least full penetration. We usually bubble out a little bit on the inside. This is a little bit thinner material. It's 1/8 inch. It's good material, but I just try to make sure that it's fully welded and strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the time lapse and let you guys kind of see the process here. Alright, so fast forward to the next day. I did kind of hold off on the bumper a little bit for most of the day. One of the hardest parts of this bumper personally is trying to puzzle all the pieces together. Again, I did do this out of cardboard back in the day. All my templates, they are not absolutely perfect. but the final product, it comes out beautiful. So I did spend some time yesterday making kind of a jig to kind of help hold it. This is where I spent majority of my day. I did a couple different versions until I kind of figured out this one that should hopefully work. It's got these little grooves. It holds it in the right angle. I threw a piece of tape over the top just to kind of hold everything at the 2-inch mark for that 2-inch plate that's going to run here. As you can see here, my plates, they do hang off a little bit. I need to do some adjustments to the file. Probably going to shave this edge down, and then I'm going to shave this edge down. It's both on each end here. The end gussets or templates or whatever, they fit perfect. So I'm going to do a couple modifications to that inside plate there. This one, as you can see, I did just bend it. Let's see here if I can. So I'm just gonna flush it up, do a couple tacks. It's got the nice little bend there, and then I just squeeze it together and it'll line up on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get that piece tacked in, and then I'm just gonna start welding it and grinding it, welding it and grinding it, welding it and grinding it, and you guys are gonna be able to kind of watch it come together. I do have one more big plate here that I have to cut out, which is basically the size of a license plate here. I typically just trace a license plate, cut a plate that's has a little bit of edge just around it, and then I just weld that in there, and I self-tap the license plate right to it. So that is one more plate I am gonna have to cut here, but I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get back on the time lapse and just let you guys continue to watch me piece it together. I probably should have filmed tacking some of these together, but I was trying to finalize, kind of get this jig set right, so I spent a little bit more time trying to get the jig right instead of filming. So I do apologize, but I will try to time lapse the rest of this. you a quick little closer look here. This is my third time now welding the edges. Weld them, build them up a little bit, grind them down, weld them, build them up, grind them down. Just keep hitting the little low spots or the bubbles or any spot where you can see kind of the seam come through. Like there, you got a little bit of a bubble, little dent. Just little things like that. Like right here, see if it'll focus. But yeah, these little bubbles and stuff, just little, let me see right here, if I can even get it to show on camera. Yeah, basically there's just little flaws here. But basically I just weld it, grind this corner, and then grind this edge, and then it'll come to a nice sharp point like that, and just do it over and over and over until it's all fully smooth and nice and sharp and pointed. And then I usually take the DA sander to it just to kind of just smooth and level it all out as best as you can, just to make sure it's a nice pretty finish. Once you get some paint or powder coat on it, it does show every little bump and crevice, so I try to make it as smooth and clean as possible. Alright guys, so now that I have the face of this thing pretty much dialed in, you can see all these sharp edges, all these nice corners, everything's just like perfect. All the way down, all the way around, everything. So now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna flip this over. I'm gonna run some stitch welds in here. Just an inch or two here and there, just to give it some internal structure. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna weld those now. And then I'm going to put in the frame brackets. And then I'm gonna have to do a license plate plate there, and then that's gonna be it. So quick little update here. So our measurement outside of frame to outside of frame where the bumper mounts is 41 3/4. So I went off my center mark here. I folded the tape measure in half. I got my individual side measurements, put them there. Got my magnets holding it in place. And then I measured inside, and it is 41 3/4. I did move them out just a little bit so it's not crazy snug. But I did measure on both sides. That way you can see I lined up my point so I know everything is straight. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fully weld these in. And then I do have a flat piece of steel right here that I'm going to trace out a license plate on, cut it out, and that's gonna be what's gonna fill this gap here. So let's go ahead and let's get this welded in. So quick little look. So I did run a couple little welds on the inside here just to make sure everything is together. So here is the last little weld I did. I just did a bunch of tiny little welds across the top, just something quick that'll be quick and easy to grind through. Just had to build up that point, so I'm gonna grind it flat. I'm gonna grind it flat, and I should have a nice sharp edge. That's the last thing I have to do. I'm gonna grind this little area, and then I'm going to put our badge on it, and then that's gonna be a wrap. Okay, so now I got the license plate holes in there. They are self-tappers. They work just fine. I've used them in the past. And then I went ahead and cleaned up one of my badges. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna weld this on right here. And then that's gonna be it. So let's weld this on. All right, here we go. So here is the final product here. So we got the badge on there. We have the frame mounts, license plate frame, rounded the edges, everything matches up perfectly with the license plate. Let's see if I can lean it down a little bit. So here you go. Alright, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.